Alright, my friends, what's up? Today we are going to work on the Unlock Protocol Wordpress plugin. And this is kind of exciting for me because, as you guys may or may not have noticed by now, I'm not like a crazy rock star developer. That's kind of why I document this whole process, is because I'm always learning and growing with it, and it's an uphill battle a lot of the times. So I document the process as I go. And this will be my first contribution to a open source project, which will be used by quite a few people. If we take a look at Unlock Protocol's WordPress plugin on GitHub, you'll find links in the resources. Might only have 11 stars at the moment, but it's going to, I don't know. We'll see. I have a feeling this project's gonna make the history books, so to speak. I think it's gonna be huge, which is why I've invested so much time into integrating it and learning a bit about it. Now, I actually did meet with sorry, I just got a message. I did meet with Julian today, the creator of Unlock Protocol, and we went over Bonsai's alpha launch for the grantee program that they're running. And for the first time, we met over the internet face to face, and he was able to kind of user test it, walk through, and give me his feedback on it, which was really cool. So I'm going to be implementing a couple adjustments to Bonsai in the coming probably week or so, depending on how quickly I can get it done. I think it'll take me less than a week to implement these changes, but in order to integrate properly, we're going to flip around the user flow a little bit. So you're actually going to create an account first before you actually do any type of payment. I'll be covering that in future episodes, but today we're going to focus on contributing to the WordPress plugin, and it's going to be a really small contribution, and I'll start there. But it's been a fun process figuring out how to get all this up and running, because it's run off of something called Lando. And if you're not familiar with Lando, I would say it's the quickest way to get an environment up and running, to get a WordPress environment up and running locally on your machine. It uses Docker to do this, and that's why it's fairly quick. It's probably 5 times quicker than getting Bonsai up and running locally. Now, there's pros and cons to that. The pros of Lando is it's very quick. It's made in Docker, which is becoming a very popular tool for development. The cons is that, from what I've heard, Docker isn't an exact replica of what a server structure looks like, the stack on the server. So when you're running Docker, you deploy something to staging or production, it's not going to be an exact clone of your local environment, which is what's nice about Bonsai, and that's using Trellis, Vagrant, Ansible, all these tools to make sure that these environments are exact clones of each other. That way you can always debug things on local and staging before it gets to production. Now, I'm not going to get too heavy into that right now, because we are going to get Lando up and running as quickly as possible. So it's great for local development. I don't quite know how to build it into like a deployment automation type of environment yet, and I don't need to, because all I'm doing is something really simple. Let me show you guys why I'm actually going to contribute to this plugin. It's because I found a line of CSS that was interfering with Bonsai. So if I pull this up incognito, we'll be logged out, and I can pull up the login form, and you'll see I actually fixed some of the padding issues that were around it, but you can see right here there's this huge gap right here. I think that's 115 pixels tall padding on this form. Now, I'm still not quite sure why that much padding was needed, but I'm sure there was a good reason. See, if you go to the WordPress login, which will be located at WP admin, Unlock Protocol gives us this ability to log into WordPress with your crypto wallet. And the reason that styling is there is to make this button look good right here. So it works great on this page, but if you're actually pulling in the login form to the front end, then it doesn't look as good, because it has extra padding that's going to be applied to it. So it's a really simple fix we're going to make. And let's just get started with it. So I know exactly where it's located. I've messed with it a little bit before. I've actually messed with Lando before. I got it set up working on another MacBook, but today I'm going to set it up for the first time on this MacBook, fresh install. So we have the README right here. We have the WordPress plugin documentation right here on powered by Github. And then we have WordPress's and right here, which is the plugin download, all that, plus the documentation. And it's a little bit easier to read right here, so I'll probably follow along with this. Okay. So the question is, actually, it's been like a week since I've done this, and I don't think did I install Lando before, or did the process install it? I actually can't remember, so I guess we'll just play dumb right here and see what happens if we were to do that. So we're gonna come into the GitHub project. We're gonna, might as well dig into iTerm while we're at it. I'm gonna go into my sites directory. I think I do have a plugins directory within here. I'll go and within here, I'm going to do git clone. And if you want to get fancy, no, I'm gonna keep the .git file actually, so we'll just run that. Unlock WordPress plugin. And here we are. So if you're not familiar with command line very much, basically what that did was just created it cloned the project in here, and then we're gonna open up GitHub app. And I like to use the GitHub desktop app because it has a low barrier of entry for people that aren't familiar with Git, but it does have some downsides. For example, when I was trying to commit the changes that I'd done on this earlier when I'd gone through this process through the desktop app. It was running into an issue with something called Husky, which is a linter for, I believe it's for the PHP, even though I had only been touching the SCSS, so I'm not sure why it was throwing me an error. But it actually, Husky is like, it hooks into the commit process, I believe, so that when you commit it, it throws like certain actions. And yeah, I was having a couple issues there. So we'll see if we run into that issue again, but we're gonna work within the desktop app for now. So I'm gonna grab this project and I'm gonna just drop it in here. Add repository. Here we are. Just to test it, I'm gonna hit Command-Shift-G and that'll take me to the GitHub version of it, and that is correct. So let's go back into iTerm, and we're just running Lando run start, right? Nope, Lando start. Okay, so I do not have Lando. It's not found. I could run Lando version, and you'll see that it's not found. So let's find the best installation process. DMG via direct download, recommended. Usually I do it in command line, but if they're recommending this, then it's a pre-release. Latest. Let's do 3.6. ARM 64 would be for a Mac M1 chip, which I'm not running because it wasn't until recently that Trellis, which is Bonsai runs on, became compatible with the ARM 64 version. We are going to use the Lando X64 DMG. So this would be a 2016 MacBook Pro. $625 megabytes, that's actually decent size. We'll give it a minute, I'll be right back. This would be a Windows version, yada yada. I don't know what all these different versions are, but this is how you would do it on an Intel Mac. Privileged access, huh? Alright, so it wasn't Lando that was automatically installed, it was Docker that was automatically installed. It's cool that I am recording this because I'll be curious to run some comparisons in the time it takes to spin up a Bonsai local environment compared to this. Because I feel like it's not actually that much faster. I had this idea, I mean, I guess once you have Lando installed, that can go a long way, but try running a container, copy and paste command, terminal, come back. Okay, I think that's just a way to get you started. I don't think I actually need to do that. What I'm going to do is come back to this project, run Lando start. And now it's working. Good sign. I feel like getting Bonsai running locally takes about I think it's 20 minutes at the quickest, honestly. And that's if you know what you're doing with the configuration. You can just go right in and just configure it real quick because there's some manual configuration involved at the moment, where this is nice because this doesn't require any configuration. But it looks like we have this app running in Docker right here. So It's probably getting pretty close. It's probably about half the time as Bonsai. One interesting thing that I didn't know was that Lando actually uses Composer, which you'll be familiar with if you used Bonsai. Okay, it looks like it's just downloading WordPress. Downloads the latest version. The one thing I do love about this is it requires zero configuration, and I feel like the configuration part might be the scariest part of setting up Bonsai, because a lot of people that aren't coders or programmers might be comfortable getting in a terminal and copy and pasting a command that they've found online, but when you got to open this huge text file and it looks all confusing in a language that you've never seen before, that can be really intimidating. So I think what I'll do is probably create a quick start, because I already have a quick start guide, but an even quicker guide on how to get up and running with it locally as a developer. Run that on Lando. And that way I don't have to worry about even teaching the configuration process, because I can already have all of that pre-configured. I guess with Bonsai, I already have a lot of it pre-configured, but it does require SSH access. I think that's like the big hurdle, and SSH can be scary if you've never done that before. I'm just gonna check out my YouTube stream, see when I started this process. I've been going pretty quick on it. Minus a couple pauses for explanations, but I think it's about the normal speed someone would go about it. Okay, it's quicker than I'm thinking. I mean, 10 minutes ago I was just downloading the plugin project. not really certain on the quickest launch time I've had on Bonsai right now. I was saying earlier, I think it's about 20 minutes. But my tutorials are super edited down. Everything's speed ramped if I'm not doing anything. If I'm just having downtime like this, then I will just speed through it in the tutorials. And when you do that, it's really like a minute or 2 minute tutorials, because it's mostly just running these scripts that takes most of the time, and you can just kind of kick back and relax. The other thing with Trellis, I will say this. So Bonsai uses Trellis. Trellis uses Vagrant and Ansible, some other stuff. And if I were to criticize it, I'd say it seems more buggy than Lando does, because say you've been working on some other project on your computer, say you have a different version of Ansible or PHP or Python or Vagrant, all of these things, and then Composer and all that stuff's even just a separate thing. I'm talking about Trellis specifically, which is the IT automation side of things. All these different versions, if you've developed on stuff before and you have like alternate versions installed, it might seem smooth through like my process on the tutorial, but somebody might just hit a bug because they have a different version of Python installed on their computer. And I've tried to sort through all that, and I haven't had anyone hit those issues, but I know it's going to come up eventually if enough people develop on Bonsai. So this seems a lot more stable, a lot more like of a controlled environment almost. And that's probably thanks to Docker, which I don't have a lot of experience with. I've been familiar with it for at least like 5 years now, it seems like, but it's a very smooth local environment experience. LEE, local environment experience. I'm gonna term that. When you're streaming though, it does seem like it takes forever. But we can dance it out. Take a quick bathroom break. Another thing to keep in mind is that your speed, your connection speed, is gonna affect this quite a bit. What? Maybe that's why it's taking so long. 22 megabits. It should be well past 100. Maybe that's because it's busy downloading right now. There we go. Yeah. 250. Yeah, I think that's just because I'm downloading something. I'm gonna edit this into a time lapse, but I might as well give some narrative while we're just chilling. So I just lost my point. Man, well, I did meet with Julian today. That was really cool. For the first time. I've talked with him quite a bit over chat and stuff, but met him for the first time. And yeah, this change with Bonsai, it's going to be interesting because I'm going to basically flip the user flow from, it used to be take payment, then sign up. And then there's that second step, which actually created the user that gave you access to the site. So it collected the money first. And that was kind of my spam filter, is like, you can't get through that unless you process a payment. So it's gonna get rid of a lot of spammy type of stuff. So I'm gonna have to figure out some really good spam protection. We'll test out some different methods. I've always thought about it'd be cool if we could offer a bounty for somebody to hack the site. I mean, I know exactly how to hack it. When I say hack, it wouldn't be the end of the world type of hack. It would be like somebody signed up for a free membership because they figured out exactly how to do it. Because that part is basically just obfuscation at the moment. So somebody could take the URL string, figure out which parameter controls what, and then figure out how to get through. And I'd like to reward that type of person, the type of person that can actually open up the web inspector and really just reverse engineer how this whole thing works. But I guess one thing that I don't like about this new process that I'm gonna do, where you create the actual account first and then you do the payment second, that's gonna help flow people into choosing, do you want to do Web 2 or do you want to do Web 3? But it's going to be way more secure, actually, which is weird because that bums me out, because I don't think anyone will be able to hack it, really. I'm sure somebody could, but probably couldn't offer an affordable bounty to, because it'll be way more secure. I guess that's just the nerdy part of me talking. I really wanted somebody to be able to hack it. Almost like, if you can figure out how to get a free membership, then you have earned your way. But now the bar is going to be a lot higher, because basically how the process is going to work, and I guess I usually don't explain this much on the YouTube because I don't like this being too open, but I guess right now I'm inviting the hackers. So it's going to create the user first, so it's just going to be email, set password, whatever, done. Now you're a user, you're like the very lowest level user, and then there's going to be a next form which takes that user's account and upgrades the role. So once you complete the next step, then it's actually taking a pre-existing user and upgrading their role with new information that you can fill in. And I think that's going to be a lot harder to hack than the whole URL string parameter thing that I had going. So that'll be fun. But not as much fun, because I don't think anyone will be able to hack it. We'll see. And so that's Husky. So it's this Husky thing that was giving me issues when I was trying to submit the pull request. All right, while this is going, I'm gonna go do some chores real quick. This is taking quite a while. I'll be right back. Alrighty. Boom shakalaka. looks like everything was completed successfully. On the other MacBook, I was having issues accessing localhost, I believe it was. Yeah, I still got to figure that out. But I believe I can come to this HTTP version of it. And I believe the difference is that this is going to have live reload, which means you save the code, it automatically refreshes. And so we'll just have to manually refresh, which is okay for now. But here we go. This is what we want to see. And then yeah, it's going to give me this error too. Obviously it's safe, it's running on a local server, and I trust it. I'm gonna do an admin. Yeah, I believe it's just admin to log in. That's just a lucky guess. And I'm sure there's a way to access the WP command line so that I could just activate the plugins from some type of script, but I'm just going to come into the back end and activate it the old-fashioned way. User registrations are disabled, so you're going to want to come here and select anyone can register and save. Now we will have settings, unlock protocol down here at the bottom. Okay, these are our buttons, and these are our different networks we can use. So it's basically working at this point. All you have to do is create a post and create a lock. If you don't know how to do that, I'll walk you through it real quick. Let's just do hello world. Now you're just going to take the content of the post that you want to lock, put it inside of an unlock block. You have to configure the lock first. Let me I have a lock address sitting around. Let me just grab that real quick. And then, yeah, what we're actually trying to access is we're going to come into GitHub. We're going to open up the code with Command-Shift-A. This will open up Atom. And then what we're looking for, I could show you how I located it real quick. So let's just go into an incognito from this domain. Oops. WP admin. It's running pretty slow. It's probably just my PC. As usual, my MacBook, OBS, is taking up most of the processing power. So we have this inspector right over here. Okay. And this is on, yeah, ID login form. You see this 115 pixel padding I talked about. I can hover over this and I can see it's in build, CSS, main CSS, and that's the build. So we don't want to actually edit it inside of the build, which isn't even here at the moment. Oh, here it is. Okay. We're going to do it inside the source. Come into SCSS instead of CSS. Main, you can see it right here. So we want this to be tied to the body class of WP core UI, which will only make it affect it in the back end. So what I'm going to do is take this whole line right there and nest it inside of the body class WP core UI, and then we'll paste it right in there. And I believe one more thing I did was this was targeting the body class login. Instead of the body class login, we're going to target I believe there's an ID. ID login form. Login form. So we could really just remove that if we wanted to. We don't want to over specify it, I don't think. So let's take this, bring it in. Okay, I've saved that. Let's come in here and refresh, see what it does. Let's put on some Project Bonsai or something. Too lyrical for me. Alright, that seems to still be working in here. Let's inspect that real quick. And we'll see. Ooh, that's still coming from login. So yeah, we haven't actually started the build process yet, now that I recall. So let's find the documentation. We need to run Lando npm run start. Hopefully we don't hit any issues here. Do I run that from this directory? I think so. Oh, from the assets directory. Go and do assets and then run it. I think that's working. Let's refresh this. Huh, I don't think so. Sorry, we're looking right here actually. And no, that hasn't changed. Interesting. So we're not running the right process. I'm adding any block related JS or CSS. Adding admin related. That might be it, but it's not. Huh. I guess we'll just run all of these and see what happens. Okay, it's listening now. Maybe that's why the local host wasn't working actually. Let's try that one more time. I don't know why it gives us a HTTPS localhost. I'm not quite sure how you take advantage of that. Okay, not found. So let's just run all of these and see what happens. How do I close out? There we go. No. That was gonna crash. I don't think it's within the blocks. I'm just gonna run this just in case, just to see how it does. Right back. All right, let's try that again. Yeah, obviously it didn't come from that part of it, but now we can run the admin section. I think hopefully that'll do it. We'll see. This is a learning process for me, so hopefully if I hit too many roadblocks, I'll probably just have to call it on this stream, but I will call it. This is how you start getting it set up. If I have some issues, I'll make sure to update that I'll address it in another stream in the next week or two. I've pretty much gone around these issues for now. Like, if you look at the login form on Bonsai, it actually looks okay. On mobile, it's gonna look a little weird because there's just a huge gap. Oops, I'm logged in. But this huge gap right here is the main issue. Yeah, this widget adds, this is using a widget right now, which is the only time I use a widget anywhere, but it adds a class of login, which is why this is conflicting. So I could get rid of that class and I suppose everything would be working all right. But if anyone else is using this plugin, then they would hit the same issue, so. Okay. Let's try that again. it's still calling from the class of login, which is strange. But Webpack is working. That's the strange thing. It should be coming from WP Core UI, I believe. That's so odd. At the very least, I can document this issue, but it's probably not an issue with the project. It's probably just lack of knowledge from me. Well, if we wanted to start from the beginning, I believe the first issue is that I'm not sure how to open up these local environments. Let me try it with that HTTPS local environment. But this is usually what's tied to live reload. And this is a mailhog URL, which is for email testing. But I don't think this will work. Yeah, 404 page not found. Okay, I've documented that issue. Now the only issue is that usually if I manually refresh this, it should be compiling the new code, because we can see it's compiling right here. When I save it, this updates. Admin, okay, let's go back to npm run start. I believe this should be compiling the code in the assets source folder. Build. Why is it not putting it in the build? I mean, I pretty much know that it's going to work, but I'm not going to submit it without actually seeing the compiled version. I wouldn't think that it takes this to compile it from source. Okay, let me test it one more time, but I don't believe it's compiled. Oh, finally. Jeez. Okay, there it is. Right there I can see WP Core UI. So you know that's working, and that should not override my login form from the front end, doing it this way. So what I could do is come into here, and I don't know enough about publishing plugins either, so I'm not quite sure whether publishing this is to tag the version on GitHub, finally UI. Okay. Well, for now I'm just going to create a fork. We'll see if we can get it committed. So that's all we needed to do. I'm going to say new branch. I think I have to fork it actually. We'll see. I'm going to call this what are other branches called? That'll give me a good idea. Acorn vulnerable. I expect to do more UI improvements because that's kind of my wheelhouse, so let's just call it that for now. Bring my changes, switch to branch. I'll come in here and I'll name it specified or plugin CSS style sheet only effects WP backend. I'm just gonna, I don't know how to do this, but I'm gonna version it. You don't have write access, so I have to create a fork this repository to contribute. Okay. Okay, we're gonna say plugins, styles, only effect, backend. I might as well say login styles because I can't speak for the rest of it. And there we go again. Pre-commit hook exited with code 127. Doesn't tell me exactly where that's coming from. We'll try for a minute to debug this. using our little shortcut. But if we can't get it, then we'll probably just wrap this up in some documentation another day. So first thing, can I open this up in Terminal? I'm not quite sure how the relationship between the desktop app and Terminal work. But I should be able to say this. Please enter a commit message for your changes. Just gonna copy this. It's done in Vim, so I'm gonna right quit out of it. I'm gonna open this up in GitHub. Where does my fork go? Is that on my profile? Man. "12 days ago. So that's when I was working on it, almost a couple weeks ago. Okay, so that's committing it. Now, how do I publish this again? It's showing up right there. Okay, so got to apologize. It's been a long time since I've used Git in the command line. Publish, GitHub, repo. Not my first, but sometimes you gotta bite the bullet and read some shit you should already know. Okay, this is all from the desktop app. I want to know how to do this from the command line. Started. It's like the most basic stuff right now, but I forgot. It's not publish branch, is it? How do I publish a new local branch to remote Git? Alright, Stack Overflow, let's do this. Git push. That's what I need. Actually, can I do this? Since it's already committed, I might just be able to publish it from... Yes! Okay. So, that worked. You have to run that command in the command line, but then you can actually publish it from the app once you've bypassed that part. That's the only tricky thing. So if I come into here, I'm going to check out the branches and let's see what we got. Nothing about UI? No, my branch isn't there. Is it on my own personal page? There we go. Updated 1 minute ago. So then I would come into unlock, I would come into pull requests. I would do a new pull request from master to, okay. I'm losing patience for this stream, I think. Compare across forks. But how do I bring one in from my forked repository? Pull requests. Oh, okay. It's recent pushes 2 minutes ago. This makes the login form more. This makes the login form, yeah, more specified. Pull request. Okay. Wow, I pulled it off. I don't know how we did it because I'm kind of stupid when it comes to this stuff, but we did it. And I'm gonna make sure that they really test this out before they accept it or anything, because who knows, I could have done something really wrong. But that is the process. You clone it, you launch your local environment, you make your changes, you test your changes, make sure that they're working, then you commit it. If you're lazy and don't know what Husky's doing with all this, then you can bypass that hook that it has on the commit, like I did, and then you publish it as a branch and a fork. So this can actually get pretty complex, but I'm glad that we did it. So I'll talk to Julian tomorrow, make sure that he knows that I have no idea what I'm doing on this, so make sure to get it all tested. But this was officially my first pull request. So that's it. Stay cool, my babies. And I will catch you in the next stream. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday. If not, sometime next week. All right. Peace.